Hello dear students, this is the video of Standard 8 and in this video I will discuss chapter number 5 Introduction to Java. So let us have a look. In the previous class I have discussed these topics. I have discussed about Introduction to Java, usage of Java, what is IDE concept, OOPS concept, and and I have also discussed importance of Java, introduction to class and object concept, and OOPS concept in Java. Okay, so today we will discuss the four concepts, that is abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So let us revise once again what is class and object. Children, in the previous class, we have already discussed about class and objects. I have also given the practical example of class and object. Suppose there is a class bird. Okay, so many different types of birds are the objects of class bird. Okay, suppose class is bird, then peacock, hen, sparrow, pigeon, parrot, these are the objects of the class bird. Okay, so in objects, in all the objects, its properties, its behavior, it will remain same. You can see its identity, state and behavior, it will remain same in all the objects. I have also taken the example of vehicle class. In vehicle class, car can be the object of vehicle class and its identity, state and behavior, it will remain same in all the objects. Now let us come to the another topic. Today we will discuss about OOPS concept. We will discuss about object-oriented programming concepts, which has the following four things: abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So first, what do you mean by OOPS concept in Java? An object-oriented programming language is organized around objects. If we are talking about object-oriented programming language, so you have to deal with the objects. It is the latest in software development and it has the concept of class and object. And the concepts of OOPS are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So today you are learning C++, you are learning Java or Python. So these are high level programming language which are based on OOPS concept. Okay, OOPS concept means object oriented programming system concept, and it has the concept of class and object which follows abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Okay. Now, first thing is that what is abstraction in Java? What do you mean by abstraction? Children, you will listen very carefully because this is programming language. You are going to learn Java, that is the programming language. So it is little bit different from your subjects. Okay, you are learning in science, maths or SST. You are learning some topic. So this is computer topic. This is programming language and this is something different. So you have to learn very carefully. You have to listen it nicely. So what is abstraction in Java? Abstraction is also known as data abstraction. So data abstraction is the property by virtue of which only the essential details are displayed to the user. The trivial or the non-essential units are not displayed to the user. Okay. Suppose you are driving a car, so you can turn the steering of the car, you can change the gear of the car, but you are not knowing what mechanism is taking place when you are turning the gear. How it works, you don't know, but only you can change the gear The facility is given to you. You can change the gear, but how the gear is changing, you don't know. So that feature is known as abstraction. It is the property by virtue of which only the essential details are displayed to the user, but the non-essential units are not displayed to the user. Okay. Suppose you are going to switch on the light, you will press the switch and the light will turn on, but you are not knowing what are the internal mechanism behind the switch, how the wires are connected, you don't know. Only you press the switch and the result is the work is done. Okay, but you are not knowing how it is possible or what is the concept behind it. So this feature is known as abstraction. You can see why abstraction is used in Java. The main purpose of abstraction is hiding the unnecessary details from the user. Otherwise, your program will become very complicated. Okay, so it is essential for the user to hide unnecessary details. Abstraction is selecting data from a large pool to show only relevant details of the object to the user. It will show only the important details to the user and the unnecessary details will be hidden. Second point, it helps in reducing programming complexity and efforts. It is one of the most important concepts of OOPS. It reduces your programming complexity and efforts. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of Java abstraction? It reduces complexity. Second, it avoids code duplication. Code duplication means whatever program you are writing, it avoids its duplication of the code. It erases the burden of maintenance. And last one is it increases security and confidentiality. So it also increases the security and confidentiality of the program. Next feature is encapsulation. Encapsulation in Java is a mechanism of wrapping the data and acting on the methods together as a single unit. Means the wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit, it is known as encapsulation. Wrapping up of data means, wrapping means binding up of data and methods. Methods in Java, functions are known as methods. So the binding up of data and functions together into a single unit, the binding up of data and function together into a single unit, it is known as encapsulation. But in Java, functions are known as method. So you can say the binding up of data and method into a single unit. Okay, so better you will use this term, wrapping up of data and methods into a single unit. It is known as encapsulation. So in encapsulation, the variables of a class will be hidden from other classes. Whatever variables x, y, z, abc, what you are using, it will be hidden from another classes and can be accessed only through the methods of their current classes. You can access those variables only through methods or functions. Now you can see with the help of this picture, you will understand what is encapsulation. So you can see the green bubbles are known as variables and the yellow bubbles are known as methods, means functions. Okay, so the binding up of data, variables are known as here data. The data and functions are binded together. The binding up of data and functions together into a single unit, it is known as encapsulation. Okay, you can see in a class, whenever you are creating a Java program, it must start with a class. Okay, class should be there. So inside this class, you can see data members each binded together with methods. This process is known as encapsulation, and it is also one of the important features of Java. You can see encapsulation in Java, a way to achieve abstraction for objects data. Second, it hides object properties from outer world. Third, it provides methods to get set object data. Fourth, also called encapsulation, is also known as data hiding. What are its advantages? Loosely coupled code, better access control and security, reusable code, and easy to test. Next is the inheritance. Inheritance in Java is a concept that acquires the properties from one class to another class. Okay. In Java program, you can create many classes. Okay. And you can acquire the properties of one class to another class. For example, the relationship between the father and the son. You can take the practical example. The son inherits some properties from its father. Okay, the son inherits some properties from its father. Whatever the property of father, it will be inherited to the son. Okay, in the same way, suppose you have created a parent class, then object class can inherit some of the properties from the parent class. Okay, so in Java, a class can be inherited. Okay, a class can inherit attributes and methods from another class. The class that inherits the properties is known as subclass or the child class. So you have understood inheritance. There can be many classes in Java and one class can be inherit. The property of one class can be inherited to the property of another class. You can understand. Suppose you have created class A in Java. Okay, this is class A. Okay, this program you have created here in class A, many functions, many objects you have created. You can inherit these properties to another class. Okay, you have created another class here, and this is the child class. This is the parent class, and this is the child class. You can inherit some of the properties from parent class to child class. So you can inherit some properties from parents class to child class. Understood? And you can create many classes in Java, children. So inside one program, it can be possible that there are many classes. Now, next, you can understand inheritance. It is of three types: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. Single is again classified into two types: multi-level and hierarchical. Next, fourth concept is known as polymorphism. It is one of the important feature of Java. Now, polymorphism in Java is a concept by which we can perform a single action in different ways. So, polymorphism means many forms. It has many forms. In polymorphism, a single method may perform different functions depending on the context in which it is called. So, I am giving one example, you will understand. What is the work of your leg? You can walk, you can run with your leg. And what is the work of your hand? You can do your daily work with the help of your hand. You can eat food, you can write something, you can hold some items with the help of hand. Okay, for walking purpose you use your leg. But what happens when you start working with your hand? It means your hand is performing many works. Okay, your hand is also performing another work. Okay, it means many forms of your hand. Your hand is performing many forms. That is known as polymorphism. You can take another example. Suppose there is a vehicle class. It has many forms: two-wheeler, three-wheelers, four-wheelers. Another example of polymorphism in Java. Suppose you have created a function area. Okay, you have created a function area. So with the help of this area function, you can also find the area of a circle. You are also finding the area of a triangle. You are also finding the area of a triangle. So the function is same, but it has many forms. Okay. So I hope students you have learned all the topics nicely. Thanks for watching this video, children.